know what's going on? It's the first thing I bring up.
Me too.
It's the first thing I bring up. Coaching staff. It's excellent. It's well prepared. It's creative. They're teachers. You can go watch and listen. Watch and listen. When you come to training camp, when it's all for real, watch and listen. And if I'm wrong, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I think anymore, because the teaching and the type of teaching is not just, hey, go run over here, run this route at 7 yards, make a 3-yard in cut, block this way. It's the repetition and the requirement of persistent perfection.
If Ben Johnson is everything we hope he's going to be in his first year, are the Bears for sure winning 9 games or more?
I never put anything on a number, okay? I just, that to me is fruitless labor, as you know. So he could majorly turn this whole thing around, and if you don't win 9 games or 8 games, you don't go to the playoffs, it could still be a success. I mean, there's still a lot to be done. There's a lot to learn, a lot to know. But into your first phase of this show, you were talking about, or this interview right here, the absolutely certain things. Can I answer that?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So
says the man who picked them to go 11-6.
I
Back
know,
to you.
and 6-0, and 6-0 to start, right?
Yeah.
In a fun way. I mean, come on now.
What do you mean in a fun way?
You
So
know.
you're telling us you're not giving us your real thought? You're
I
just
don't know.
your
It's just
fun
that we're
thought.
having fun. Because I never do it. I never do it. I never ever anybody ever asks me how many wins they're going to have. You guys are the only ones that have pulled anything out
That
of
makes us special.
in 29 years.
Yep.
Nice going.
Thank you.
So, absolutely certain they will be well coached
Thank you.
with every dotted I and crossed T that you can possibly imagine, despite him being a rookie head coach. But it's not just Ben. It's from Ben Johnson on down throughout the whole staff. I am all in on this staff. Because if I say anything other than that, I'm being disingenuous with you and your audience right now, our audience. Because every time I speak, and I've been speaking on the daily up here at Halas Hall to partner groups of the Bears, and they want to know what's going on, it's the first thing I bring up.
Me too.
It's the first thing I bring up. Coaching staff. It's excellent. It's well prepared. It's creative. They're teachers. You can go watch and listen. Watch and listen. When you come to training camp, when it's all for real, watch and listen. And if I'm wrong, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I think anymore, because the teaching and the type of teaching is not just, hey, go run over here, run this route at 7 yards, make a 3-yard in cut, block this way. It's the repetition and the requirement of persistent perfection. You're trying to perfect this, down in, down out. Every snap matters. And I believe that's going on in just the OTAs. You can't learn anything more about OTAs, and certainly when the media is permitted to see one of those practices each of the 3 or 4 weeks of the OTA sessions, you're not going to learn the entirety of what's going on. So you can only look and respond to what's in front of you, and I'm doing the same. And the people I've met, the men I've met that are on this staff, I can only tell you how I feel about what they say. And it's no nonsense. That's it.
With that in mind, Jeff, I mean, this was a team that clamored for being held accountable and wanted to be coached harder last year. Is there a palpable difference with the players and how they have accepted the different approach from this staff?
I don't know that, because I haven't physically gotten in front of guys one-on-one to talk to them about it. Only the guys that have come in from other teams, that's been the bulk of our interviews. So I haven't had that chance. But from what I'm hearing from inside the building, yes. And they're going to be pushed hard. And nobody's waiting around for anybody to get on that train. That's it. Train's leaving the station, time to roll.
Yes.
And there's a lot on the line for Ben Johnson's a first-time head coach who got a handsome salary as the #1 coaching candidate in the second year in a row in the hiring session. And he's got a lot to prove as well, and he wants to be great at what he does. And this is a great opportunity. So I don't know. It's just the type of people on this staff. It's just something I I don't know. Until we see it, you only can say what you're seeing from afar. Until we actually have games and somebody gets punched in the face and facing challenges, which they will. They're going to face all kinds of stuff. They will. It's going to be a difficult season. Schedule-wise, and hopefully everybody remains pulling on the same
Not in the
rope.
first 6 weeks, according to someone I know. It should be
6-0. Yeah, it's a cakewalk.
Okay, the biggest question.
Yeah.
Who's the starting left tackle?
Here's what I want. Can I tell you what I want? Here's what I want. I want it to be Trapillo. Because I think if Trapillo is not your starting left tackle, Trapillo's on the bench. And for your second rounder in an important year to not have an impact on this season, I think is worrisome. What is he then? Is he a right tackle if he's not earned the left tackle position? What are you doing here? I think your second-round pick has to be an immediate impact guy. So I would want him to win the job. I don't know if he's capable of it, though.
Yeah, and that'll be the question. Can he actually be a consistently quality left tackle here in a very important second season for Caleb Williams? So that's part of the big question. I don't think I know what you're saying. Like, you want all your high draft picks to start, but sometimes they got to wait their turn as well, and that doesn't mean it's a bust or anything's bad. It just means for the time being, and maybe as the season goes, that person becomes more of an impact player on the roster. So I don't know, but that's my biggest question, because it's going to be a fun watch, and that includes Karan Amagaji, and see what happens with him. And I know Tom's big on this too. It's not a small thing, and I know, when I used to do these reports with Tom Waddle, not Tom Waddle, with Tom Thayer Waddle, Silvy used to give me cracks every time because we do these Bear reports. We do so many. He wanted to hit all the headlines, be the top hits, but we got into the weeds a little bit about the fifth safety and the seventh offensive lineman, eighth offensive lineman. But Tom's big on sixth, seventh offensive lineman because you got two veterans coming into the starting lineup, but they did not finish last season. So you gotta be ready for anything. And as we've been exposed to here, unfortunately, over the last several years, the amount of offensive linemen being needed and used has been astronomical.
Yeah.
So I think everything on the offensive line is important. It's not as a big a question as it was a year ago, but that one position excluded. And I'll throw 1A in there, is how impactful will they be stopping the run? They're going to be very aggressive, fly off the line of scrimmage, but they struggled last year for a lot of reasons stopping the run, and they need to stop the run against this particular schedule here in 2025.
Yeah. Jeff Joniak, the voice of the Bears, joining us. It's Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. We talked about this last week when we saw you at Halas Hall. You were in the camp, and a lot of people were. I think the majority of the people were, that you thought the Caleb stuff was yesterday's news. You had no problem with him speaking. You would have rather him probably not even address it. But now that he did, and you were in attendance for that, what did you think of what went on at Halas Hall yesterday with that?
Yeah, he was damn good. He was. I don't know. I was not listening to your show yesterday. Shame on me. But I don't know what you guys thought. But I'm sure I'll hear it from you now. But I thought he was excellent. Every time he's at the podium, in his first 2 years here now in the National Football League, he's acting like the CEO, a businessman. He's speaking about it. He hit all the touch points. He said what he said, but then, like I expected him to say, hey, we're done with that. We're moving on. Whatever was said, whatever was thought, whatever it may have been, it's old news. We can't have distractions. And, this has been a pretty distraction-free offseason. And that's necessary. I don't want to be the team every year that has a distraction that's weighing you down. I think I was thinking about it. I'm watching practice yesterday. I'm thinking, is he thinking about, because we all knew he was going to the podium, was he thinking about that through practice yesterday? No. Because when I have a big event, if I have a big thing to do where I'm required to be on a stage or I'm speaking to a group of people, that's on my mind all day. I mean, I'm not great at compartmentalizing things. But once I start, I'm in my zone, and I can nail it. In my opinion, I get it done. and I feel better about it in the end. But I'm wondering if that was weighing him, how that was going to come out. He's not scripted. He's just speaking from his heart. He's probably thought about it a great deal after it all went down, but that's the definition of being professional, right? Even for an OTA practice, you got a demanding head coach and a lot of people watching from the media. You got to go out there and perform, but then, you got to get to the podium and answer this stuff.
Yeah, as expected, I thought he handled it the way he's handled pretty much every one of his press conferences since he's become a Bear. And I think that was quite well. So much so that I'm not even going to dwell on it. I'm going to move forward and ask you, Jeff.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, is it going to linger? I don't
No.
think so.
No.
It'll resurface for the opener, though. National media is going to have a field day crack at it, right? It's going to be a topic.
Yeah, but I think having addressed it already, that it'll come and go.
Yeah.
I said, maybe kind of just goofing around, but I do mean it as well, that things get more real next week. They'll kick it up a notch because this is mandatory mini camp versus OTAs. Is that exaggerating the situation, or do you expect it to kick up a notch some?
No, I don't think it'll be kicked up a notch. There's no pads. Until pads come on, it's
But
still
everyone's
the
got to
same.
be there for this
Oh,
one.
yeah, everyone's got to be there. And it's been very well attended. Very, very well attended. The only guys really, for reasons that we're not exactly sure why in terms of injury, are not here. They were revealed a little bit yesterday with the soft tissue stuff for Kyler Gordon. Jalen traditionally has things going on at this time of year, so he'll miss a few. But, I'd like to know how some of the guys that have been banged up, like a Braxton Jones, they're going to be present. So that's probably the difference. Will they be standing there with their position groups and whatnot? I don't know, but Ian Wheeler is another one. I want to see where he's at from his injury. I know Billings. I think Billings is back, so that was another injury concern. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. I have one for you too. What did you guys like? Montez Sweat? Do we think he was more injured last year than we really were let on?
I do.
From the time training camp started, when he was trying to get himself right, because he's a big part of what happens next. I mean, he's got to be.
I think he was probably more hurt than I anticipated, Jeff. But
Same.
But by the same token, that doesn't mean that, like I still think he is a guy with a lot of pressure on him and a guy that has to prove a lot, having, been given the contract he was given and being one of the linchpins of that defense.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm hoping he loves the way Dennis Allen wants his defense to play. Very aggressive, violent. He's got the body to be violent and the mindset to get after the quarterback. So that's going to be very, very important. And I thought what he said yesterday about Javon Dexter Sr. was important also for a young guy. He said, hey, he's a leader. You did bring those guys together. That alone is not enough to be a leader. Hey, guys, I'm down here in Florida. It's convenient for me. Come on down. But he made the initiative. That's a great first step. But of a young player, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for Darnell Wright. I'm looking for Javon Dexter. I'm looking for Caleb. I'm looking for Roma Dunze. I'm looking for Kyler Gordon. These guys to be Jalen Johnson, to be leaders, because not just by name or just by reputation, but by action. And I still think that there's a void to be filled, and who are those guys going to be filling that void? They're going to be leaders when the Bears are competing for a Super Bowl.